Welcome to Beyond the Road, the ATS podcast, and I'm your host today, Holly. And today we have with us...
My name's William Hodges, or Bill. Specialized driver in flatbed open deck division, blade qualified or wind qualified. Been driving tractor trailers since 2001. Been with ATS since 2014. All of it open deck with exception of about a 4-month period as a smoothbore tanker.
Nice.
Currently in the middle of wind projects that are currently ongoing with the wind industry at this moment.
Sure. Keeps you busy.
Yes, very busy. I hadn't been at home. After this is over, I'm taking the rental car home while the truck's getting fixed and the trailer's getting repaired this week.
Good. Well, that's a good opportunity to head home for a little bit and have a little bit of a break, right?
They're going to say hi, to say the least.
Yeah. So why don't we talk a little bit about your experience and kind of what brought you to ATS?
Started off my career with TMC, open deck, flatbed. Got my training there. Spent 9 years there. Was trainer of the year twice for TMC.
Oh, wow.
1.5 million miles I bought there. Black Peterbilt 379, loved it. Had the opportunity to bring it here in 2009, but I didn't quite do it. But came around in 2014, June 2nd.
Okay, so you already had 1.5 million with your previous carrier, and
That's
then
correct.
now I know you're a million miler with ATS, and that's 1 million safe miles, so that means no preventable accidents on your record or anything like that. When did you get your 1 million mile here?
I think I became aware of it about a year ago, actually.
Okay.
But I haven't done the award ceremony or anything about it.
Okay.
I was surprised that it's actually mentioned today as they finally got me up there somewhere. We haven't did the official
Okay.
seance or whatever you want to call it.
Celebration is
There
what I
it
like to
is.
call it.
But,
Because that's really exciting. That's an amazing achievement. Not a whole lot of drivers can have that that brag, I guess, in their career time, because it takes a lot of effort to even drive that far and then for it to be 100% safe. So
Yeah, besides transportation, I was in the Army for 15 years as well. So,
So well beyond 2.5 million at this point.
yeah, actually, come to think of it, when I was stationed in Korea, they have a badge that you can earn for driving, but it wasn't tractor trailer. It was basically driving whatever vehicle that they had available. And I drove the company commander down from where we were stationed out about 200 miles to Yeongseong, South Korea, which is Seoul, and all types of weather conditions. But yeah, we were out in the middle of it then.
Yeah. So you've had your share of experiences over
Oh
over the
yes,
years.
I can tell you some horror stories.
Oh, wow. I'm going to jump to trucking industry update real quick while we're talking through things. So what has it been like out on the road recently? Have there been any trends you've been noticing within like the driver realm of things, or even with the carriers that you're working with? Are things picking up? Are they slowing down?
Well, I'm pretty stay up on this pretty much. For the last 2 years, well, up until about 6 months ago, actually, things been down. Several small carriers and major carriers like Yellow Freight have declared bankruptcy and went out of the business in transportation. Freight's been slow, and the rates have been down, but this is all supply and demand. People don't realize it. You've got to remember, and there's not enough freight, or freight volumes are lower than normal. Well, the rates are going to be lower. There's competitions out there to get more.
Sure.
The thing that we have to do as a driver and lease operator, owner operator for that matter, is make sure your debt is under control. Mm-hmm. You may save enough for the rainy day. Keep something people don't talk about. Make sure your credit score is good, because you're going to need it in the downtimes. And maybe even a secondary source of income, just in case you have a shortfall week to week or month to month.
Sure. Yeah, that's good advice, especially coming out of what's been a pretty rough 4-year patch, it seems like, for the industry where everything's been kind of down.
This is similar to 2008. 2008 was another rough time for the transportation industry. People will remember the financial meltdown on Wall Street. Well, transportation went through the same thing during that same time frame. And freight rates dropped. I didn't realize it at the time, but I just thought it was just a bad time, and then started looking into it. Well, supply and demand was in motion at that time, and freight was just slower.
Mm-hmm.
We almost lost our house, but we fought and kept it.
Yeah. What do you think the key is to, I mean, I know you mentioned a few things with financial advice, but as a truck driver, the decisions you're making out on the road, what is the key to surviving through those?
Be upfront and honest and tell your family what's going on. If your income is suffering because of things beyond your control, that's when that's when they need to know, so they can adjust what they're spending money on as well, to alleviate a lot of the pressure on your budget.
Sure.
Frankly, it's a difficult task to take care of, but if you can keep ahead of making your payments, keep your debt low, plan your budget every month. Actually, plan it weekly, because you don't know what your paycheck is going to be from week to week.
Yeah, that's true.
And the support that your family can give you, that's the important thing to do. As long as they're in with you and understand what's going on, you'll be all right.
What do you think about drivers who, like, during those more strenuous times in the market, kind of the grass is greener situation, they'll kind of hop from carrier to carrier to try to find more miles? Do you think that's an effective approach, or what are your thoughts?
Because a lot of time the grass isn't greener over on the other side. A lot of times a driver will move from one company to another, and I'm one of those that did it early in my mid-career. I've done it as well. I won't mention companies because we're not going to tear them down. They had their business model. But the grass wasn't greener. They had a different price structure for their lease purchase or leasing program. And they're competing for the same freight that the company that you used to work for is competing for.
Sure.
So, no, you just got to. Now, there are cases when it is necessary to move on from another carrier. When you maintain your budget and you know what your numbers are, what your fuel mileage is, how much it costs for the insurance on the truck, and what the truck expenses is every week to every month, and you do your quarterly reports and have a financial plan, that'll let you know if it's time to leave or not.
Sure. And where do you think, like, the driver-manager relationship falls into that equation?
The driver-manager will make or break your career as a truck driver. If you don't get along, more than often than not, there's going to be resentment, and opportunities that might come your way won't come your way because of that disagreement between the two. Had some great fleet managers here with ATS, and I have some that I had struggled with, but on 95%, I've gotten along with everybody, and we worked really well together.
That's great. What kind of advice would you give to a driver who is having a hard time with his fleet manager?
Talk it out with your fleet manager. Seek the one-on-one, face-to-face discussion with them. And if necessary, go up the chain of command to the, I don't know what I call them, I call them the division heads or managers.
Sure.
And just work up the chain of command. It could be just as simple that your personalities don't click, and you need another face. But communication's most important. If there's a problem, if you broke down, you let your fleet manager know immediately. Don't try to hide it or put it off, because more often than not, if you need to repower the load because of a breakdown, they can get it done quicker, and there's not a service failure.
Yeah, and I suppose that's a symptom, or I guess a differentiator between good companies and bad companies, and that'll help you decide whether or not you should stay if if
Yes.
it is a disagreement and you do let your fleet manager or driver manager know and they're not willing to do anything about it, well, then it is what it is at
Then
that
more than likely
point.
it's
But
time to explore different opportunities.
yeah, but more often than not, I would hope that a company worth staying at would, want to hear you out and be able to overcome whatever the obstacles are.
That is absolutely true, and that is definitely true for ATS.
Oh, that's good to hear. What about, so you mentioned keeping an eye on your prices and how much your expenses are while you're in the truck. What have you noticed with fuel costs lately?
Fuel prices are moving back up, and that's mainly because of the conflict that's going on in the Middle East between Israel and Iran, and by proxy the United States as well. As long as that tension is up, oil prices are going to be up because the Strait of Hormuz is the major oil shipping lane between the Middle East and the rest of the free world. And then you also got the possible conflict between China and Taiwan, because once again, South China Sea and Indonesia, one of the major oil transportation lanes in the ocean between the Indian Ocean and the Pacific, goes right through there. And if the conflict erupts there, well, you'll probably see prices skyrocket even worse.
Oh, absolutely. Do you think it's important to kind of keep your eye on the world news?
Yes, but I will say that I have kind of backed off of watching news so much because it get my blood pressure and
I get that.
it get it up, and I have my opinions. And,
Yep.
That's
Take it in moderation, just like anything else, right?
and that's because 15 years of active duty, I dealt with a lot of that stuff, and
Oh, yeah.
lots of deployments to parts of the world, the Middle East, Africa, and Germany or Western Europe at the time before the Berlin Wall came down.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I can tell you. I'm getting off track a little bit. I can tell you what evil looks like, and evil was the border between East and West Germany, and also through the other rest of Western and Eastern Europe. For example, the Wall, Western Europe, people lived there. They had their houses were upkept. German houses was very nice, bright colors, everything. You look across the wall where the East German border guards were, and on the other side, villages are run down. Only the old residents are left there. Any young people that may be born or from that area were shipped back to the interior of the country. No, I saw evil.
Yeah.
And to all the military people that served our country, thank you again, because I was right there with you, and you saw what evil looks like as well.
Yeah. I've noticed that we have a significant amount of veterans that end up in the trucking industry. Why do you think that is?
A lot of it is because we're self-starters.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of us veterans have been in charge of people. I retired as an E7. I was 1st Brigade, 3rd Infantry Division's NBC NCO when I retired.
Sure.
And I deployed to Desert Shield and Storm. We had miniature deployments to Kuwait before the second Gulf War in the late 90s, Egypt, been to Korea, of course, and I was in West Germany when the beginning of my career. Went through the Berlin discotheque bombing, the Rhein-Main Air Force Base bombing, the Gulf of Sidra incident afterwards. Of course, the Red Brigade faction of the East German, it was a terrorist organization, and it's an Eastern European terrorist organization that kind of went around Western Europe and tweaked our noses, so to speak. We had to react to them on occasion.
Sure.
And, of course, other operations that I really can't talk about.
Sworn to secrecy.
Yes.
Yes, I can completely respect that. I always think, well, it's not really wonder. I always assume that there's a lot of problem solving aspects that come in handy with, the transition from military type duties into trucking, because there's always different challenges that are very unexpected, and then being able to keep that calm, cool,
Absolutely
collected
correct.
head in those stressful situations.
Yes, a lot of the situations I faced on active duty, but as an individual and as a leader, are the same type of situations that can happen on the road, on the interstate. Maybe not bullets or armed conflict, but you have accidents, weather,
Sure.
other natural disasters, stuff that happens, in different communities that may affect what's going on. Of course, not to mention the economics of the transportation industry and load securement and the challenges of getting into different sites to pick up and deliver, all that.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of weather, when it comes to, so we talked a little bit about you having over 1 million safe miles, and what were the 1.5 million that you had at your previous carrier? Were those also safe miles?
All safe miles.
Also, so 2.5 million. Wow. So with your experience through all of that, when it comes to making decisions in like weather type scenarios, what kind of advice do you give other drivers to try and stay safe out on the road?
Stay aware of what the weather is going in, conditions are at the moment and in the future, when doing your trip planning, and actually when you're before you're moving your load, or actually while driving as well, because weather always changes, wind conditions changes. Example, Sunday we were in Percival, Iowa, doing the pre-trip, getting ready to leave out. We had three blades getting ready to depart. I looked at the the clouds were kind of threatening, and one of the driver had the radar up, and I said, looked at it on his phone and said, severe thunderstorm warning, where's that at? And we pulled it up. We delayed departing that truck stop because of that weather warning by an hour. And good thing we did, because that storm came through and wind gusted 60 miles an hour.
Oh, wow.
And we were pulling, I think we were about 200 feet long, truck, trailer, and blade all together.
Yeah, that's a big wind sail.
That would not have been good for us to move before that storm came. After it moved through, it cleared up enough, and radar showed that was good to go. And then we departed. Same thing holds up for winter weather. You got to know when weather is going to change. Does the state have a restriction on you moving because of the icy conditions? Pennsylvania, New York, the Northeast. Yeah. They do that in the winter a lot. Got to be prepared for the extreme cold, have enough food and supplies and warm weather clothing to survive. If something was to happen to, the truck break down for whatever reason, or God forbid, you're in some sort of incident or accident, in order to survive those situations.
Have you ever felt I guess I'm trying to think of the right way to word this. Have you ever felt like you always had the ability to say, no, I'm not going to move in this weather, or that there was an expectation that you needed to move in the weather?
I had never had a weather condition forced on me to move in a bad situation. Never. And a lot of it was because all the fleet managers knew better and were aware of the situation. And then I controlled my temptation instead of trying. Now, there's been times I got caught unaware. I'm not going to deny that. And I had the equipment to get me out of that situation and back to a safe haven to park.
Sure.
And then there's the time that you break down, you get your fuel gel for whatever you don't think it should have. And you have to figure out ways to either, one, get that vehicle started back up again, or how to survive and, in those extreme weather conditions. But if you think you're straight and just think of what to do.
I hear a lot of stories from drivers moving to new companies for good reason, usually that they do sometimes feel the obligation to keep moving, even if they don't feel like it's safe.
And that's true. But biggest obligation that can be a threat to your safety is to feel like, I really need a paycheck. I really need to get this delivered. And that's the worst thing you can do, especially if you're in a winter storm warning and the roads are not really safe. More than likely or not, you're going to get into an incident where you spin out or go into the ditch, or you get into one of these multi-car pileups that we see from time to time.
Oh, yeah.
It's best to find a safe haven. If you get caught unaware, get off the road, let it go. It's not worth continuing until it's safe to do so.
Yeah, it's a good philosophy to always have, that no load is worth a life. I've heard that one a lot, and that's exactly right.
I felt that strain and that pressure to do it, and you have to be strong enough to fight against it. Not that I'm always successful, but we try.
Right. Accidents are called accidents for a reason. Nobody expects them to happen, but, whenever you can make the safe decision, you always should.
And the sad thing about it, incidents will happen. It's happened to me. Minor or, in my mind, major or whatever. I'm harder on myself than my fleet manager is.
Sure.
But it's so easy for something just to happen that you didn't think, or you just get complacent. And it'll happen. Now, the best thing is to learn from that, recover from it, be truthful to your superiors, and you'll come out doing well and learning from it, and learn from the experience.
And then tell your advice to other drivers.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's really the important. Go tell the trucker stories, because there's lots of truth in those stories, although they might get blown out of proportion.
Right.
They tend to, and that's like war stories. They get blown out of proportion as well.
Same side, like fishing stories, right?
Oh, yeah. Even
I caught it. It was that big.
But it was actually only like that. Yeah.
Fishtails. So
Yes.
I know that we're rapidly approaching hurricane season. Do you ever have to navigate through any of the areas that are usually impacted by those?
Yes, and here's another war story, or trucker story.
Yeah.
When Katrina was coming up, was building into the Category 5 storm, and it was threatening New Orleans before it got there, I was actually in Seattle, Washington. I delivered a load out there for TMC. And I picked up a load of lumber to bring back to, believe it or not, it was a Home Depot and outside on the outer bank of New Orleans. And I monitored that storm being built, building all the way up, on my way down. And I tried calling the receiver and seeing if they were open, and the storm hits like 3 days before I get there. So I call Louisiana Highway Patrol and trying to get road conditions and everything. And the area that I was delivering was like on the northern part. It was a little above sea level, so it didn't get flooded. So I just kept going, but I monitored the situation. And finally, I got to within 300 miles, and at that point, they were into the recovery. New Orleans flooded. They called out the National Guard. My old brigade commander became the scene commander for the federal government response. Remembered him quite well. I just can't think of his name at the moment, but he was a lieutenant general. When I worked for him, he was a full colonel, 2nd Brigade Commander, 3rd Infantry Division. But and then it just got to the point that I had to there's no other places to park. So once again, this is the one time I said, okay, we'll just go in and go try to get delivered at the Home Depot. And it worked out, because they actually answered my phone when it was about 50 miles out, and they said, yes, bring it in. Well, there was another hurricane brewing in the Gulf that was threatening to come right in behind it, but actually when it did come ashore, it went over to Beaumont instead.
Oh, wow.
But they got me in. Everybody was buying plywood and lumber to board up again.
Yeah.
And they took my load, set it in front of the doors of the store, and closed.
Really?
Really. They used my load to protect the interior from the storm and the other activity that was going on, looting and you know what. And then on my way back home, I knew I wasn't going to get a load out of Louisiana.
Yeah, not at that rate.
I wasn't, and I knew from past, you don't drive from New Orleans back to Houston on I-10 when you got a storm because, number one, the traffic's going to be bad, and then the storm is going to wreak havoc on whatever's out there when it comes ashore.
Sure.
So I went straight up I-55 to I-20 and I-20 to North Texas and missed the storm altogether.
Oh.
And that's paying attention to the weather conditions. Mm-hmm. And the storm did blow into Beaumont and it's a Category 4 or 5 as well. I think it might be a Category 3 when it came ashore.
Sure.
And it tore up a little bit of stuff down there, but that's another reason of just monitoring the situation, planning, and
paying
trying
attention.
to be proactive. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have went on in, but it worked out. Got lucky on that, and then I got out safely.
Yeah, and at least you were trying to make contact the entire time, and you were proceeding cautiously. It's not like you were just bulldozing in there, guns blazing, or anything, and
that's
just like, hey, what happens, happens.
And that's what we should be doing about winter weather or the spring storms that we be getting, all tornadoes. I've been ran over by a tornado as well, and I know what it's like.
Really? Okay, now we got to hear that story.
War story, okay? 3 months before I retired, I was on staff duty, non-commissioned officer for the battalion at that time. It's an engineer battalion. And Fort Stewart, Georgia. We just, first infantry, 1st Brigade of our division just deployed to Kuwait for one of those many deployments to the desert to say, Saddam Hussein, do what you said you was going to do, or we're coming through. And, and this time I was on the verge of retiring, so they let me stay behind. I'm usually a first in, last out type of guy. But anyway, once again, I had duty. Storms were moving in from the west, western Georgia. And I just got through briefing the battalion commander at physical training formation. They were talking about canceling PT that morning. But we never cancel PT, but they were worried about the storms. Mm-hmm. So briefed him. They decided to cancel PT, and I get my forward arrow start, and I just go to the other side of the post. As I was going on the other side of the post, the local radio station in Savannah, Georgia, on the AM dial, says, oh, we just got issued a tornado watch for the southeastern Georgia area. Well, they made a mistake. I pull up to the stoplight right beside the brigade headquarters, and the light was green. And we, on a military installation at PT time, we have road guards to protect the runners because they always run in on this one big road from traffic, make sure traffic does not go in that area during the organized running that goes on. Okay. So I noticed all these people pointing off to the east, and I just thought, I wonder what that's all about. The light turns green. I go forward on the street that I was on, get beside this one big building, and the wind starts blowing. Next thing I know, the windows broke out. The van starts rocking like this. And I said, oh, no. And right before that, the radio station says, we made a mistake. There's a tornado warning for Fort Stewart right now. And I said, yeah, where? And then it hits us, right?
You're like, right here.
It was rocking. I just dived underneath the bench seat and back, and I just like rocking back and forth and saying, God, please help me get out of this one. Broke every window out of the van, twisted the top, and the bad news about that, I just paid it off.
Oh, man.
I went from full coverage to liability the day before.
Oh.
The great thing about the military, if you're on a military installation during that time frame, if a natural disaster happened, they will pay for people affected on the installation to get recover.
Oh, well,
So
that was
we was
good.
able to replace the vehicle with no problem.
Well,
But
that's good.
there's part two to the story. At home, the family was getting up and getting ready for school. And my 16-year-old daughter at the time, she's a little bitty thing. She had cystic fibrosis. She was watching the TV, and she's pointing at the TV screen. No, she wasn't 16. She was 7. And she pointing at the TV screen, and my wife says, "What you pointing at, huh, sweetheart?" And she said, "Tornado warning." And my wife said, "Oh." So she proceeded to get everybody gathered up and moved into the inner hallway. And she was having a hard time getting our teenager up. And she said, "Christina, get up. We got to get in the hallway. There's a tornado coming." And the 7-year-old comes in and into the room running, bumps into my wife, bounces off of her, according to my wife. And she looks at Christina and yells, "Christina, get that blank up. We're all going to die." And sure enough, that little it was like a small F2, but it was a big enough. It did a lot of damage on Fort Stewart. And it came within maybe a half a mile of our house. And then it lifted up. And the funny thing, there's a trailer park on post at that area where it lifted up. It didn't damage a thing, but it tore up a bunch of other buildings on the installation.
Sure. So you got sideswiped by a tornado.
Sideswiped by a tornado. Yep, no kidding.
Yeah, not a whole lot of people can claim that one.
And I didn't even see that one.
You literally didn't see it coming. You just like showed up right on top of you. Mm-hmm. That's the worst kind of surprise. I think that's what my nightmares are made of, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, and while driving, I went through the Moore tornado. Funny story. I was in the Detroit dealer getting my engine head gasket replaced on a DD60 engine, or Detroit 60 series engine. And they sent all the mechanics except one home because they all lived south of downtown. That's where the storm was coming in. Mm-hmm. The one mechanic that lived on the north side of town, he stayed at work and fixed my engine during that tornado.
That is dangerous dedication.
Yeah, and that storm was that was a bad storm. It was just the whole storm was rotating.
Oh, wow.
But yeah.
I'm sure that was a freaky sight.
Yeah, just a little excitement.
Well, so what advice do you have for drivers and even shippers out there, like when they have anticipated storms, or even if it is a surprise, what are some best practices to try and keep your freight safe and your truck and you safe?
When you're in an area where there's bad storms forecasted, like at the beginning of the day, find out what the forecast is. There are plenty of internet weather guys out there that are excellent at doing that job, or used to Weather Channel or the National Weather Service. Have a radar app so you can watch the radar and see where the storms are popping up, and pay attention to storm alerts. And if there's a storm that's coming within your area, find a safe place to park. Look where the storm is projected to go. Mm-hmm. Don't park underneath the underpass, because that's the worst place you can be in a tractor trailer or a car, or anybody that thinks getting up underneath the girders of an underpass. That is because when a tornado directs hit a bridge structure like that, it's like a wind tunnel effect, and it'll blow people out from under it. It'll damage cars and tractor trailers much more extensively than just being out in the open. And it's just sometimes you just can't help it. Mm-hmm. And there's other times, if you're proactive, you can dodge these things.
Yeah. And I suppose let your driver manager know, so then they can at least give a heads up for the carrier or for the shipper, so that they know, hey, weather delay.
Well, yeah, and when you go to a shipper, find out where their storm shelters are, the designated storm shelters, especially when the weather is forecasted to be bad that day.
Yeah.
And if you're in a rest area, find out where the storm area is in the rest area or the truck stop.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's important for shippers to remember, too, that, with transportation does come literally acts of nature and God. Yeah,
and
so
nature.
Some things that are unpreventable. So, always being willing to understand that there's some things out of control that can impact your delivery times, but that, safety is the most important thing. And you want not only you, but the freight to arrive safely every single time.
And the shipper needs to be, or the
flexible.
receiver, both the shipper and consignee need to know in advance if there's an issue.
Yep.
I always try to call the shipper once I get dispatched and discuss arrival time, my ETA to their location, what to expect, how to get into there, what's the parking lot or parking like, are you allowed to stay there, or are you going to need to go, hours of service issues, mitigate those as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And of course, same thing with the receiver. Mm-hmm. And if you have a breakdown, immediately get on and notify your fleet manager, get a hold of road repair. Or if you're like I am, I have a maintenance account with the TAP program with St. Cloud Freightliner because my truck's leased to them.
Sure.
Gina works really great with me. And if you're going to be a lease operator or owner operator with ATS or any other company, make sure you got a well-funded maintenance account.
Sure. Yeah, for those backups and those emergency situations.
Exactly.
Why don't we talk a little bit about, so I know we had a few weather experiences of close calls out on the road. What are some of 2.5 million miles? That's a lot of driving. What are some of the craziest stories or things that you've witnessed over the years out on the road?
Okay.
And what did you learn from them?
This was an incident that happened back in late January, early February, I can't be exact. Just got finished doing the Yuma, Fort Madison, Iowa project to Yuma, Arizona blade wind project. Okay. And I was under a regular load. I was empty. I was on my way to Laredo to pick up, I believe, a jet engine to go somewhere else. And en route there's a town southeast of Del Rio, Texas. I was going through. And at the end, entering a construction zone, it was around 8:30 in the evening, dark. Tractor-trailer traffic coming opposite direction. It's in the middle of a construction zone. Another 18-wheeler from a different company, he was driving a dry van, pulled out behind another tractor-trailer, went into my travel lane, sideswiped a pickup truck that was in front of me, and I do not know how he missed me. He did not touch my truck and I thought I was going to get head on. And the only thing, what I did was basically got over as far on the shoulder as I can. I mean, I was right up against the guardrail, and then I swear it's like only an inch or two clearance. Of course, Lydics covered, caught it. And the driver in the car, and the truck didn't stop, he kept going. And the driver in the other car, the vehicle that got sidewiped, he stopped and he was wondering everything. And he said, "No, I got video. I got the video," and I showed him. And another guy that was in behind the other truck that did that almost hit us, following him into the rest area. The driver actually pulled in, not the rest area, to a truck stop. Mm-hmm. And he pulled in there and he found a spot and pulled straight in, not realizing that he was being followed by somebody. He almost ran off the road as well. So we immediately contacted DPS, Texas State Troopers.
Yeah.
They came out, And he actually, he was able to drive the pickup. He went back to the truck stop, and then I got turned around. And I says, "No, I got video. I got evidence." So I went back and I went into the truck stop as well. And the state trooper and local authorities came out, and they started questioning him. And then the state trooper came over and started talking to me, and I said, "Do you want to see the video?" He looked at me and said, "What?" "I got a video," and I pulled it off on the lytics wrap, and I showed him the video.
Yeah.
And don't know the full story. I think the guy that's car got damaged or pickup got damaged, he probably recovered some money, or he recovered to get his vehicle. I believe they arrested that guy and took him in custody that night.
God, I hope so.
Oh, it was scary because
that's
the
insanely
scariest
lucky
time
that
tornadoes are one thing, but that was scary. I thought he was going to hit me head on.
Oh yeah, that's terrifying. And there's so much of that happens out on the road.
Yeah, it's
extremely lucky that neither you or the guy that was in the truck in front of you didn't get, like you said, hit head on.
Yeah, from that report, he's driving erratically since, the leaving I-35 right outside of Laredo on the loop that goes over to where our yard is. From that point up, he was driving erratically, according to reports.
No, that's so scary, and it's lucky that he didn't hit anybody else before he was removed from the road.
Exactly.
Like, that doesn't always get to happen.
I don't show that video to my wife.
Yeah, I bet not.
I might not be allowed to come back out here.
Yeah, she's like, "You're not leaving this house again."
No.
Oh, that's terrifying. What tips do you have in a situation like that for defensive driving? Like, what can you even do in a situation?
Only thing I could do, I slowed down immediately. When I saw him coming, I slowed down. I knew because, number one, and then I got over. And it was kind of just automatic.
Sure, instinctual almost.
It is very much. I knew if I slow down, I mitigate the amount of damage he can do me than moving at a faster speed. If I was doing 35 through that construction zone. And,
good thing you were moving slow.
And I slowed down to like 5. I got over and I slowed down. I think I got a hard brake registered as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and it was all instinctual. I guess maybe 24 years of driving kind of maybe prepared it a little bit. But I'm not saying that was all the reason. I think we just really got lucky that night.
Yeah. Somebody was watching over you.
Yeah, because there's a lot of times things will happen that you can't explain. Mm-hmm. And that's one of them, because I thought I was going to get hit. And I said, "Geez, I just got this truck."
You're like, "Please, no, not again." It's like the van situation all over again.
Exactly. Well, and then there's going to be times mistakes are made. Mm-hmm. My truck's in the shop now because I'm getting a new bumper on it because somebody ran into me.
Oh.
It's getting fixed, and I'm getting the new Aliarc bumper, so I'm going to have a little more substantial bumper on this truck.
Nice.
Sometimes, I'm paying a little extra, but that's because I want it.
Yeah. You're like, it's worth it.
And I want my truck to back where it's looking great again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a point of pride, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it's got 67,000 miles on it, and
oh man,
I got it back in November. Actually, this is quicker. This is faster 67,000 miles than the last truck.
Wow!
Because I got the last truck and everything slowed down.
Oh.
Now things are starting to pick up.
Sure.
Wind is picking up. Looks like we're going to be busy for a couple of weeks or maybe more. Mm-hmm. On the more part.
All right. You're like, if everything works out, money.
I make people happy and keep doing a good job, and everybody's happy with what I'm doing. And like I said, I'm my worst critic out there because I'm hard on myself.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes you a good driver, right?
I hope so.
Yeah. What other tips do you have for drivers, to hit their 1 million safe miles?
Take care of your equipment. do your PMCSs, your pre-trips, your post-trips. Plan for success the day before. Get your maintenance done. If you need something fixed, get it fixed as soon as you can, and let your the appropriate maintenance people, fleet manager, know about it. Budget. Plan your budget. Know your numbers. Choose loads that meet your projected income needs. Be aware of the freight lanes. Like if you're taking a load from, let's say from Ottawa, Kansas, or why I say Ottawa? That's an OTMC lane. Tuma, Iowa. To say you're taking a combine or a sprayer or a John Deere Caterpillar, whatever it is, from Illinois or Iowa or even here in Minnesota, and you're taking it out to Tacoma, Washington, or somewhere in the Midwest, know that you're getting paid to go out there. Know the rates coming back are lower. And plan accordingly. And if it isn't profitable, maybe you shouldn't take that load and look for something else. There's been plenty of times I've turned down load because it didn't make sense in the budget or profitability. Bottom line, ATS don't want you going broke either. They depending on you to pay for what. If you got a lease truck through them, they're depending on you to make those payments every week and every month.
I think that's a great point.
Vice versa, your family is depending on you to make enough to provide for your family or for yourself. If you're single, and if you do know your numbers, like what is your fuel mileage? How much does it cost to fill up the tank? Oh, look up on the driver's app and find out where it is to buy the cheap fuel cheaper at. Go a step further, find out which state has the highest fuel tax. But their fuel rate might be lower, but the overall price is higher. But if the overall price is higher because of fuel tax, it's actually cheaper because the excess fuel or tax that you pay in that state will be recalculated to pay for another state's fuel tax. Oh, yeah. That's
interesting.
Figure out how much money you need to put in your maintenance account every week per mile. 5 cents a mile don't catch it anymore. More like 20 cents a mile because of inflation. And yes, that hits hard. I really loved it when it was 5 cents a mile.
Yeah.
Put money back for operational expenses on your behalf. I mean, like I have money that's held back through ATS, through Truck Power, that I call my emergency spending fund. And more often than not, that is the fund that I pay for meals, showers, haircuts, which I need a haircut, buying things that you need to do, tools or whatever you need on the road. And if there's an emergency at home, well, you've got that money set aside that you can use that for that emergency that is a budget shortfall. Avoid taking advances if at all possible. Only take an advance in an emergency. Because what happens when you expect your paycheck, you forgot you taking that $200 advance and it's $200 short and you're like questioning, what's going on with your paycheck? Oh, you forgot to account for the $200 advance that you taken. So we're talking financial maintenance, health. Find a way to get health insurance either through Obamacare or the government workplace or on your own. I know it's expensive for owner-operators. If you're a company driver, I believe there's an insurance plan with the company, but I can't speak for certain because I hadn't had that insurance plan since 2014. Actually, never had that plan at all with the ATS because I had to provide my own. And that's just, there's been times I paid up to $3,000 a month for health insurance. Yeah, and that's another war story. We'll just leave that one alone for there because that's
another topic.
It's so politically charged. Yeah, we'll cause chaos in the trucking
yeah, I was
community.
gonna say that's a problem that extends past trucking and everything else, right?
Yeah, but still the bottom line, have some sort of insurance plan, put money
Yeah.
back for health issues, maybe invest in a blood pressure monitor from Walmart or a CVS or Rite Aid.
Sure.
Check your blood pressure every once in a while, or get paranoid and start checking it every day like I do now.
Hey, better safe than sorry.
Maybe even go so far as getting a glucose tester and check your blood sugar. You may be pre-diabetic and not know it.
Yeah.
And lay off the Coca-Cola. Oh.
I didn't see anything.
Get your diet under control.
Yeah.
And talk about dental, and I'm not an example of dental, but take care of your dental, do exercises, and if you're lonely, get a pet if you think you can take care of them, because a pet will take care of you in more ways than one emotionally. It'll lower your blood pressure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of research out there actually about how healthy, or like how it impacts your health and your just general quality of life having,
And the other part is stay in contact with your family. I call my family every day, almost every hour. In fact, I'm going to harass my wife and say, you got to watch this because I made a fool of myself today.
No, you're doing great.
But yeah, I'm going to talk to her about it on my way back down to home. I live in North Texas.
Sure.
Cowboy fan. Oh my God, I'm in trouble.
I get a lot of heat.
I know y'all all talking to cowgirls.
I get a lot of heat because I'm a Packer fan, and we're obviously in Minnesota. So
you beat us now.
Yeah.
I get upset about that. I remember the 80s and 90s, and that's another story we won't go into.
We won't start football beef in here.
Oh, well, okay.
You're like, now that you're talking about it, all right.
My son had surgery at University of San Francisco Medical Center, was the Army, and there was another young kid that was in a room, sharing a room with him, and the nursing staff tended to ignore him so much until half of the San Francisco 49ers football team came into the room. Lo and behold, he was a cousin or a nephew of Dana Stubblefield, who was a defensive tackle for the 49ers. Of course, I was sitting there watching it and I'm just amazed and said, wow, these guys are good. But guess what type of T-shirt I had on? I had Cowboys. And back then, that rivalry was hot because we beat them like 2 or 3 times to go to the Super Bowl. And, of course, I went nuts every time. When we were deployed, I had a motor sergeant out there. And he had a radio. I didn't have time to listen to the games because I was running the company. And he would call on the FM, and he says, Bill, Dallas just scored again. Oh, cool. And he said, oh, they backed down again. Oh, they won the game. I said, oh, wow. We're out in the middle of a desert somewhere. I can't say where, but I was like, oh, yeah. Great, they're going back to the play. They won. This was the NFC championship game, not the first one. It was the third one.
Okay.
No, it's the second one.
Okay.
That one was played in Dallas, and we were out doing what we had to do for the country.
Yep.
And
not in Dallas.
Like, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl again. Oh my. But, oh, well, that was back then. That was 25 years ago, almost 30.
Time
Come on,
flies.
Jerry, you got to get this right.
That's all right. Time flies. And it's like one of those things where you're like, oh, the 2000s were just a decade ago. And you're like, oh my gosh, no, that's been 25 years.
Flying.
I'm like, I don't like how old that makes me.
62?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. It was only yesterday I said I was a kid.
No. Feels like it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Well, we've had a lot of different variety of conversations today. I really appreciate you coming in here and chatting with us and giving us some really awesome advice on how to be successful on the road.
I didn't even talk about my musical career, but that's another
Oh, well,
story.
okay. So when are you going to be around next? We're going to have...
Oh, I don't know. They got me on wind, and we're probably going to be out there for a long time.
All right.
Like, I don't know how long.
We're going to rebook you back in so we can talk about that musical career. It looks
Okay.
like
Yeah, I can
we
tell
didn't
you
even get to
about
dig
my
into that yet.
Full ride scholarship,
Wow.
music major. Went to college 2 years, but I had to work to pour room and board and stuff, and I worked at night at a convenience store. Got burned out, so to speak. Music was no longer fun. It was work. So I went in the Army. Go figure.
I was going to say, I
from
bet
the woodwinds to
that
nuclear
boredom was
weapons.
cured real fast.
Quite literally, I went from woodwinds to nuclear weapons. But one of my classmates was Reba McEntire.
Well, that's a brag.
Yeah, she won't remember me. She's famous now.
We're going to call Reba and do a check now.
She won't know me. Watched Dennis Rodman play college ball at our small college in Durant, Oklahoma. And another famous Hall of Famer baseball player, Brett somebody. He played for the Atlanta Falcons, not Falcons, but Atlanta Braves, and won a couple of World Series champions.
When you mentioned Dennis Rodman, I had to look at Nick because he's got a stack of Dennis Rodman basketball cards.
Yeah.
A whole stack.
When I got out of the Army, he owned a construction company in North Texas in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for a long time called Rodman Construction. And then he sold it off. And, it was just like a lot of construction. They sell off to different people, and they consolidate, and then they split up, and then consolidate. They never want to be a gravel hauler.
Oh, my gosh. Well, we obviously have more topics to cover with you, so we're going to have you back on again whenever have a gap in your next load.
Okay. I'd be glad to if y'all like me to come back.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, everybody, for chiming in today and checking us out. Drivers, you can always check out more content for you on the YouTube channel Over the Road. Also, make sure you visit the Learning Center on driverats.com because we have a lot of tips, tools, and insights, including a ton of blog content on safety and weather-related tips. If you're a shipper, you can always head to the ATS Learning Center at atsinc.com for more resources that are tailored to your specific needs. And then, if you're always looking for your next job, wink, wink, hint, hint, you can always go explore openings at atsinc.com/careers. So thank you for tuning in. And as always, stay safe out there.